Hey Lakeside, it's Ryan here. We are continuing on in our journey to lean in with Jesus. Over these last several weeks, we've been going through the passages of Philippians and just seeing how we can lean in to Jesus more in our lives so that we reflect Him. And today we're in chapter 3. We're going to look at verses 10 and 11, and they're short, but there's something really important for us to see in these two verses. So let's go ahead and look at verses 10 and 11. It says this, I want to know Christ. Yes, to know the power of His resurrection and participation in His sufferings, becoming like Him in His death, and so somehow attaining to the resurrection from the dead. Now, this is an interesting passage, and it may be a little confusing at first, but there's just one thing that I want to point out about it that I think is important for us. You'll notice that the order seems a little weird in how Paul describes it. He talks about the resurrection first, and then Christ's death and sufferings. Well, if you look back, you'll obviously see that the suffering and death came first, and then the resurrection. But you see, Paul here, he's not speaking to Jesus. He's referencing Jesus' experience, but he's speaking to the follower of Jesus. And you see, we live in a post-resurrection world. The resurrection for the follower of Christ comes first. And then from that, we may experience or step into experiencing sufferings and maybe even death. And what Paul is trying to get across here for us is that the power of the resurrection for us as followers of Jesus is the thing that gives us the power to navigate sufferings. It gives us the power to be willing to step into following Jesus, even to the point of death. That power comes from the resurrection for us. And so he starts with the resurrection. When we look at our lives, we have to ask ourselves, are we leaning into the power of the resurrection, in the difficulties, in the challenges, in the turmoil that can come our way from following Jesus? Are we relying on the power of the resurrection? And do we trust that power enough, even to the extent of following Jesus to the point of death? That's an overwhelming power. That is a power that cannot really be described in words, and it's one that may seem too far off. But that's the power contained in the resurrection, that when we lean into what Jesus accomplished, we can navigate everything, even to the point of death. Doesn't mean it'll be easy. In fact, it means there might be suffering, but we will get through it because of the power of Jesus' resurrection that comes to us. So whatever you're going through, wherever you're at, I pray that you will lean into the power of the resurrection to navigate the difficulties, the turmoil, and the challenges, those that come with life and those that come from following Jesus because the world does not understand, so that we can reflect Jesus to the world around us. Have a great week. We're praying for you and we love you. Take care.